Dear students, now today we are going to see Unit 3 of Complex Analysis. The Unit 3 topic is Sequence and Series. Today we are going to see about the sequences and the series. In this unit, we'll have the problems regarding the sequences, means theorems, as well as we'll have Taylor's theorem and the Lorentz theorem. Based on Taylor's theorem and Lorentz theorem, we'll have some problems. Then after that, we go for the power series. Power series we have, and in that power series also we have some problems. We'll see that singular points and zeros of the function, zeros and the singulars. These are the different topics we are going to solve after solving the Lorentz series theorem and as well as problems. So first we'll try to write the definition of sequences. Now what is a sequence? A sequence is nothing but a sequence. Let us take Zn is said to be converts to a point, is said to be converts to a point z if for each epsilon greater than 0 there exists n belongs to the natural number n such that mod Zn minus z is less than epsilon whenever n is, and take n is greater than n, small n is greater than n. This is nothing but a sequence which we are finding. So we have many sequence like infinite sequence also there, finite sequence also there, z1, z2, z3, z4, z and so on, zn. It's nothing but a finite sequence. If you go to infinity, it becomes as a infinite sequence. Okay, so we'll do one theorem regarding the sequences. As you know already, we have done so many problems regarding the sequences and series in the previous classes. Now we'll try to take directly the theorem. Suppose sequence Zn is a sequence of complex numbers. Is a sequence of complex numbers. Let Zn is equal to xn plus in and z is equal to some x plus iy, then Zn tends to z as n tends to infinity. As n tends to infinity, Zn tends to z. That implies xn tends to x, yn tends to y as n tends to infinity. Okay, now we need to prove that limit n tends to infinity, Zn tends to z. In the similar fashion, by using xn tends to x and yn tends to y as n tends to infinity. Okay, then next is if this is possible, then this is going to be happen. Next we'll use this and we'll try to prove that Zn tends to z. This is one small problem for 4 marks they will give. Okay, so proof. We'll try to find out proof. First we'll write the definition of the limit, then we'll try to deduce this one. Okay, now we'll try to find out try to write the definition. Suppose limit n tends to infinity, let us take Zn equal to z. Suppose limit z tends to infinity, Zn is equal to z. So let epsilon greater than 0 be given a smallest value, a positive value. Limit n tends to infinity, Zn equal to z. So that implies for epsilon greater than 0 there exists n belongs to n such that mod Zn minus z is less than some epsilon whenever n is greater than n. This is according to definition. According to definition, for epsilon greater than 0, there exists n belongs to a natural number or the positive values such that mod Zn minus z is less than epsilon whenever n greater than n. Okay, now for n greater than n, we'll try to take like this. Xn minus x is equal to xn minus x equal to, I'll write real part of xn minus x. Okay, this may be less than or equal to, I may write this as xn minus x. So real part means I write zn, and there I write here as z. So real part of zn is nothing but xn, real part of z is nothing but x. So less than or equal to mod zn minus z, since real part of z is less than or equal to mod z. In the same way, imaginary part of z is less than or equal to mod z. This is what we have the inequalities in the complex numbers. So therefore, what is this now? Zn minus z. What is Zn minus z? Is less than epsilon. So this is less than epsilon. Now what we got here? We got that xn minus x is less than epsilon. We got. So we got that. Therefore, what we got? Xn minus x is less than some epsilon. So similarly, we can prove that yn minus y is less than some epsilon. Okay. So what is this indicates? That indicates that limit n tends to infinity, xn is equal to x. So this implies that n tends to infinity, yn is nothing but y. So we have used that limit zn is equal to, limit n tends to infinity, zn is equal to z. We have proved that limit xn, n tends to infinity, xn is equal to x, and limit n tends to infinity, yn is equal to y. So this is how we have proved. Now we'll take these two and we'll try to prove that limit n tends to infinity, zn is equal to z. Okay, so for that we'll try to write in the form of like this. Okay, we'll use that one because implies and implies is there. Suppose limit n tends to infinity, xn equal to x, limit n tends to infinity, yn is equal to y. Now this we are taking and we'll try to prove that limit zn is equal to z. Okay, so suppose we have, now we'll write the definition. Let epsilon greater than 0 be given. I am writing the definition of the limit. So limit n tends to infinity, xn is equal to x, that implies for epsilon by 2 greater than 0 there exists n belongs to n such that mod xn minus x is less than some epsilon by 2 whenever n is greater than n. Now this is according to definition. In the same manner, limit n tends to infinity, yn is equal to y, that implies for epsilon by 2 greater than 0. I am just taking epsilon by 2, it's an arbitrary value, we can choose anything which is very much small, such that there exists n belongs to n such that mod yn minus yn less than some epsilon by 2 whenever n greater than the small n. Now this we have taken the definition of the limit, we have applied the definition of limit for the two things. Then we'll write that, we'll take here, we'll write in the form of like this is n1 I'll take, this is n2 I'll take. So now we'll write capital N is equal to max of n1 comma n2, maximum of n1 comma m2 from these two. Instead of taking n, I have taken n1 and the n2 maximum value of n1 comma n2. So therefore for n greater than n, we have by the above we'll write mod Zn minus Z is equal to, mod Zn means xn plus I by n. This is xn plus I by n minus of x plus I by. That is equal to xn minus x plus I into yn minus y. Okay. So if you apply mod inside, mod xn minus x plus mod I is 1. So mod yn minus y. Okay. Now this is what we have. So therefore what we can write here, xn minus x and yn minus y is less than some epsilon by 2, less than some epsilon by 2, both the values. So I may write this as epsilon by 2 plus epsilon by 2, that is nothing but epsilon. So what we got? Mod Zn minus Z is less than some epsilon. So what it indicates? It indicates that as limit n tends to infinity, n tends to infinity, therefore limit n tends to infinity, Zn is equal to Z. Now we got this one, Zn is equal to Z. So therefore what we can suppose, limit n tends to infinity, Zn, that is nothing but limit n tends to infinity xn plus I by n. So that implies limit n tends to infinity xn plus I into limit n tends to infinity yn. This is again x plus iy. So therefore this is again z. Like this also we can able to prove. So we got this one, limit Zn is equal to z as n tends to infinity by using that these values. So this is how the first problem what we have done. Now we go for the another important theorem regarding this one. So this is the note point that as n tends to infinity, I can say Zn is equal to z. Otherwise I can say limit n tends to xn plus I by n is nothing but equal to x plus I y. Okay, so this is what we have. Now we go for the another important theorem, that important theorem, small theorem that we'll try to prove. If sequence Zn is convergent, if sequence Zn is convergent, then sequence Zn is bounded. We need to prove that Zn is convergent and the sequence Zn is also bounded, that we need to prove. Now the small proof, the proof in the form of like this. Suppose a sequence Zn is convergent. Okay, it is, let us take this is, it is convergent. So it converges to, and let us, it is converges to some z. Let us take say it is converges where? It converges to some z. So therefore what we can write here is, I may write definition. Limit n tends to infinity, Zn equal to z, that implies for epsilon greater than 0 there exists n belongs to n such that mod Zn minus z is less than some epsilon. Let us take like this. So what I will do is, I may write this one epsilon greater than 0, I may take this as some epsilon for epsilon is equal to 1, which is greater than 0. So instead of writing epsilon, I may write 1. I may write here Zn minus z is less than some 1. Epsilon I am taking as some value as 1. So therefore what we can write here is, mod Zn minus z is less than some 1 for all whenever n greater than n, the small n greater than n. Now this I have chosen. Okay, then we have, so what we have here is, I may write this in the form of mod Zn minus z is less than or equal to Zn minus z, or we can say Zn minus z is greater than, that is mod Zn minus mod z. Like this also we can write. Now this is mod Zn minus mod z is less than or equal to some 1. This I am writing in the form like this. So this I may write in the form of mod Zn minus mod z is less than or equal to 1, and this is minus 1. Minus 1 to 1. One is positive value, the other one is negative value. So what I will get is Zn minus 1. Okay, Zn minus 1 is less than, I may write in the form of, I will write this Zn mod Z is less than mod Zn is less than 1 plus mod Zn, or I may write this as 1 minus mod Zn, otherwise I will write this as plus. Okay, like this. Okay, we'll write in the form of, in different way we'll write, right. So yeah, 1 plus mod Z, like this. So we'll try to make use of this one for all n greater than n. Now we'll try to take this inequality, that is mod Zn is less than 1 plus mod Z. Okay, that is what we have. So for all n greater than n, now we have chosen this one. So therefore what we can write, we'll write one value, that is nothing but m will take m value. Taking m, let us take m such that m, which is the maximum of mod Z1, mod Z2 and so on, mod Zn, and say mod Z plus 1. Now these are the all the values which we have. In this, what are the max we have, that we'll choose as some m, where m is nothing but greater than 0. M is always positive. So you will be getting as, therefore you will be getting as mod Zn is less than or equal to some m. So 1 plus Z mod Z or Z mod Z plus 1 is nothing but equal to m, because the maximum value, what are the maximum value we have chosen? They have the sequence of all the positive values here. So mod Z is nothing but less than or equal to m. So for all, we can say this is for all n. So therefore what we can say, therefore the sequence Zn is a bounded sequence, because we have chosen all such values which we have, that is mod Z1, mod Z2 and so on, mod Zn and mod Z plus 1. So therefore the sequence Zn is nothing but bounded by value, some value of m. So therefore it is again the sequence Zn is bounded, means the sequence is nothing but converges, means the sequence Zn is also a bounded sequence. So this is how we can do this type of problem. Okay, now we'll go for another important definition which is very useful to solve the problem. Now definition is in the form of like this. Okay, suppose the formal sum, you take a formal sum, that is summation n is equal to 1 to infinity Zn. Now this is a partial, this is formal sum is nothing but called as a series of complex numbers. These are nothing but called as a series of complex numbers, because these are nothing but what, Z1, Z2 and so on plus Zn plus and so on. This is nothing but a series of complex numbers. Okay, now I may write in this, I'll take Sn is equal to summation k is equal to 1 to n some zk. Now what I'll write, what I have written is summation z is equal to 1 to k, or I can say k equal to 1 to k, 1 to k, the k is nothing but equal to 1. If I take k equal to 1, you will get Z1, Z2 and so on up to Zn. Now this series is called as a partial sum. We'll take it as is called as a partial sum. It is a partial sum. Suppose I wanted to find out that, let us suppose this is Sn. I wanted to find out that this Sn is convergent. Now if at all I wanted to find out that Sn is convergent, I need to prove that their partial sum is convergent. If the partial sum is convergent, that indicates that entire series is nothing but convergent. N is equal to 0 to infinity, z power n is nothing but convergent. So we are not going to take towards the infinity, we will take first partial sum and we will try to write down that we'll try to prove that that partial sum is convergent. So therefore the entire series is going to be convergent. So the series can be written in the form of like this. Let us take suppose Sn is equal to Sn, Sn plus some rho n. Now I am writing as Sn is nothing but Z1, Z2 and so on Zn. This Sn is nothing but a partial sum, and rho n is nothing but has taken the towards infinity. Means I may write as Z1, Z2, Z3 and so on plus Zn plus Zn plus 1, Zn plus 2 and so on. Now you should understand this is nothing but Sn and this is nothing but rho n. Okay, so rho n is nothing but after n plus 1 terms, n plus 1 terms. Sn is nothing but up to n. So what I'll write is S minus Sn is equal to rho n. Now this rho n is called as the reminders. All the reminders which are nothing but means are all the numbers which are after n, means n plus 1, n plus 2 and so on. This is called as a remainder one. You can say this is nothing but remainder one. So therefore this is what S minus Sn is nothing but rho n. Okay, rho n is nothing but what? It's called as a remainder after n terms. These are the remainder terms after n which is remained from S minus Sn. So based on this we have a small thing that we'll try to find out, a small concept we'll try to find out now. So we know that Sn, rho n and the S. S is nothing but total complete towards infinity. Yes, capital S. And Sn is nothing but only to the nth partial sum. And rho n is nothing but after n plus 1. Means after n you will get n plus 1. N plus 1 to the infinity is nothing but rho n. Now we'll try to take each and everything so that we'll have this. Let an is equal to S. Okay, I may take summation an is equal to S, means a1, a2 and so on. So then S is equal to Sn plus rho n. Rho n already we have taken, that is after nth term, means n plus 1, n plus 2 and so on. Okay, and S minus Sn is equal to rho n, just now we have taken rho n. So as Sn tends to S, that is we have Sn minus S tends to 0. Okay, means as n tends to, you will get 0, right? As n tends to. So that is rho n tends to 0 as n tends to infinity. Means this rho n will be 0 as n tends to infinity. Now this is what we are. Now we will write a definition. Let epsilon greater than 0 be given as rho n tends to 0 as n tends to infinity. I'll write definition. For epsilon greater than 0 there exists n belongs to n such that mod rho n minus 0 is less than some epsilon whenever n is greater than n. Now this is what we have. Rho n, this is rho n minus 0 less than some epsilon. So I may write this is rho n less than some epsilon for all n greater than n. Okay. Now what is rho n? Rho n is nothing but S minus Sn is less than some epsilon for all n greater than n. Rho n is nothing but what? S minus n. S minus Sn. Okay. So now for m comma n, where mn is greater than n, where n is or m is greater than n. Now this value is greater than n. These both values are nothing but greater than n. M is strictly greater than again n, small n. Let us suppose this is small n. Okay, small n. So what is going to happen now? Now I may take in the form of like this. I may write in the form of like this, so that we will understand. Okay. Now this I may write in the form of like okay. We'll write rho m minus rho n is equal to rho n is nothing but S minus Sn. Rho m means again S minus Sm, S minus Sn. Okay, S minus Sm and S minus Sn. That is called as a rho n. So which is less than or equal to some Sn minus S plus Sn minus S or S minus Sn. So this again I may take it as epsilon by 2, and epsilon by 2, that is nothing but less than some, you will get epsilon. So what you got here, sequence rho m minus rho n is less than some epsilon you got. Okay, both the sequence you got for all m comma n is greater than n. You got this one. Both the series you got in the form of less than some epsilon. Both are convergent now. So in particular we have s m plus 1 minus sn. If I write sn plus 1 minus sn, that is equal to, what is sn plus 1? Sn plus 1 means all the terms a1, a2 and so on up to n plus 1. This is Sn. Sn means again a1, a2 and so on up to an. So what you will get here? You will be getting, as this is less than some epsilon, you will be getting in the form of mod an plus 1 is less than some epsilon for all n greater than n. You will be getting like this. So therefore what we got, limit n tends to infinity, this is nothing but an is nothing but equal to 0. You got as limit n tends to infinity, an equal to 0. So therefore an is nothing again rho n is nothing but is equal to 0. So what we are supposed to get from this content is, rho n will take it as the remaining terms and Sn will take it as a partial sum, and S is nothing but will take it as total together sum. Okay, so we'll try to do one problem by using this content. Okay, how to do that problem, that we'll see. We'll see one problem, then we go for the Taylor's theorem. Okay, so before that we'll try to write the series definition. What the series definition says: summation n is equal to 0 to infinity an z minus z naught whole power n. This is called as a series, and z naught is nothing but called as a center of the circle. You know, if you take a circle if you take, this is the point where z naught is nothing but a center of the circle, and an is nothing but a coefficient, and z minus z naught whole power n. If z naught is 0, you will be getting as an z power n. Jn is nothing but a coefficient. Now this is called as a power series. It's called as a power series. It's called as a power series about z naught. It's called a power series about z naught. So when you may write y is equal to, you may write, or you may take s is equal to. I'll write s is equal to this all. This is called power series. So based on this power series, we have a Taylor's theorem. Taylor's theorem also will prove. So before that, we'll try to prove a small problem. You'll get you'll understand the things. Now we'll try to do one small problem. Consider summation n is equal to 0 to infinity z power m. Okay, and we'll write Sn of z is equal to summation k equal to 0 to n minus n z power k. Means all those partial sums which are up to n minus 1, that is Sn of z. And I am writing as rho n of z. Rho n of z is nothing but k equal to n to infinity z power k. Means the remaining terms which we left after n term, means n plus 1, n plus 2 and so on up to the infinity. The reminders, means I can say reminders, rho n is nothing but reminders, all those. So therefore Sn of z is equal to 1 plus z plus z square plus and so on plus z power n. This may be, you may write as 1 minus z power n by 1 minus z. Okay, this is up to z minus 1. Sn of z is nothing but up to n minus 1. So z power n minus 1, you may get, according to this series, you will get 1 minus z power n by 1 minus z. Now what is rho n of z? Rho n of z is nothing but z power n from here. Z power n plus 1 plus and so on. It goes on to this. Now let us take common z power n common. I take z power n common. Therefore you will get 1 plus z square plus and so on. Okay. Still I can write this one z power n. I can write this one in the form of, this is like, it is the series up to infinity. So S infinity is what? S infinity is equal to a by 1 minus r. R is nothing but ratio, common ratio. So z by 1 is nothing but z. Z square by z, it's nothing but again z. So A is nothing but 1. So 1 by 1 minus Z. Now you got as 1 by 1 minus Z. 1 is nothing but A, this first term. And 1 minus Z. R is nothing but Z. So Z into 1 by 1 minus R. So therefore what we are going to have is Sn of Z tends to 1 by 1 minus Z for mod Z less than 1. Since Z power n is nothing but tends to 0 for mod Z1, mod Z less than 1. Because of that, is Sn of Z tends to is 1 by 1 minus Z. Now we will try to write S of Z now. What is S of Z? So S of Z is combination of both the terms, no? S of Z. S of Z is called Sn of Z. I may write this as Sn of Z plus rho n of Z. Together nothing but Sn of Z. S of Z. Sn of Z. Sn of Z is nothing but what we have here is Sn of Z. I may write Sn of Z directly here. Then rho n of Z is this one. So this is Z power n 1 by 1 minus Z. Now this is what Sn of Z already we have 1 minus Z power n by 1 minus Z. This is Z power n by 1 minus Z we have. Already we have in the previous Sn of Z is not 1 by 1 minus Z power n by 1 minus Z. And Z power n by 1 minus Z. These are the few simplifications now. Now you will be getting as what? S minus Z power n plus Z power n by 1 minus Z. Now you got as 1 by Z. So S of Z is nothing but you got as 1 minus Z. So this is how you got whenever as Z tends to n tends to infinity, you can say that mod Z less than 1. Then S of Z is nothing but you got as 1 by 1 minus Z. Now this is one small content that you may get whenever you take S is equal to Sn of Z and rho n of Z. If you can simplify, you can write in the form of like this. Now S of Z is nothing but 1 by 1 minus Z. That will make use in the next theorem, that is called as a Taylor's theorem. Now these are the small content that you should understand. Now we will see the important theorem which gives 12 marks. That is Taylor's theorem. Very important. Taylor's theorem. Okay, now statement we'll see first. Suppose f of z is analytic. Suppose f of z is analytic on the disk. F of z is analytic on the disk. Mod z minus z naught less than r. Means you take a point here. This is the disk, and this is another concentric circles with a concentric means the center will be same, radius will be different. That's called concentric circles. So this is z naught. I may take point here is z. I may take from here to here. Yes, this is r1. This is small r. This is capital R. Like this I have chosen. See, this is center is z naught. From center to S is nothing but capital R, and from Z naught to S is nothing R1. From Z minus Z naught is nothing but R. Now these are the concentric circles with R. Mod Z minus R. Then f of Z can be written as, it can be written as f of Z is equal to summation n equal to 0 to infinity a n z minus z naught whole power n for all z with mod z minus z naught less than r, where the coefficient, that is a n, is nothing but equal to f power n z naught by n factorial, where n is equal to 0, 1, 2 and 3 and so on, and f power n of z naught is equal to f of z naught. This is already what we have chosen. Now this we need to prove. Means instead of writing a n, we may write f power n of z naught by n factorial over here. Now that we will try to prove in the cases form. 2 cases we will try to prove. That is 3 cases. Case 1, case 2 and the case 3. Okay, first we will take case 1. We'll try to prove this one by taking the case 1. Case 1 is nothing but by supposition that z0 is 0. When z0 is 0, what is going to happen? See, a n z power n you will get. Okay, z0 is 0. So you will be getting that. Suppose z0 equal to 0 and let f of z be analytic. It is analytic inside and on mod z less than r. Let us suppose this is analytic inside and on mod z less than r. It is nothing but it is analytic in this portion. So therefore we can make use of the theorem, Cauchy's theorem for higher derivatives. That also we can make use. Okay, we'll try to find out what is the value now. Okay, now we have to prove that. Now we are going to prove that. We have to prove that f of z is nothing but equal to summation n equal to 0 to infinity f power n of naught by n factor into z power n for all z with mod z less than r. Okay, mod z less than r. Let us take this as number 1. Okay, so this equation 1 is called Maclaurin series. Maclaurin, C-L-A-U-R-N, Maclaurin series. See, what we have, suppose we have taken that z0 is 0. So when z0 is 0, here f power n z0, in the place of z0 we have kept 0, and here in the place of an we have written as f power n of 0 by n factorial into z power n. Now this is a series which we got when if we suppose that z0 is nothing but 0. We have to prove this now. Okay, so now we'll choose that in the form of like this. Okay, in the form of like, to prove this we'll try to choose that the z minus z0 is nothing but less than r1, or you can say z minus z0 is less than some capital R. Okay, now we'll choose r1 such that, now r1 I am choosing in the form of like this. Now how the r1 is greater than r less than r, greater than small r less than capital R. This r1 is greater than small r less than capital R. Okay, that we have chosen first. Then f of z is analytic. F of z is analytic inside and on C, and since f of z is analytic inside on C, then what we have got here, and z is inside C. Now where the z lies inside of the circle C. Okay, let us suppose this circle is C. Okay, so it is lying inside of the circle C. So therefore because of f of z is analytic inside of the circle C, by Cauchy's integral formula. So by Cauchy's integral formula, we have Cauchy's integral formula. We get f of z is equal to 1 by 2 pi I integral C f of s by s minus z0 into ds, or f minus z into ds. You take it as this as number 1, because this is nothing but a concentric circle. All concentric circles are, we are taking the circle C, this one, and f of z is analytic. So by applying the Cauchy's integral formula in this, now we'll try to take Cauchy's integral formula in the form like this, and we'll try to find out the value of 1 by s minus z. We'll try to take 1 by s minus z. After finding 1 by s minus z, we'll substitute that value here, and we'll try to reduce the case 1. Okay, right. So what we are going to do, we'll take 1 by s minus z. You should understand, because f of z is analytic inside on C, we are using Cauchy's integral formula to reduce the equation 1. to get the value of equation 1. So I'm just trying to find out the value of 1 by s minus z. After finding 1 by s minus z, I'll substitute in this and I'll reduce the I'll simplify it and I'll get the equation 1. So how to simplify this? 1 by s minus z. So I'll take s common. If I take s common, 1 minus z by s. Now this is what we got. Now we'll try to find out z by s value from there. Okay. So since mod z by s is nothing but mod z by mod s, that is nothing but, you can understand mod z is always less than 1. So therefore you will be getting as less than 1, or you can say mod z is nothing but r and mod s is nothing but r1. Okay, which is less than 1. R by R1 is nothing but less than 1, because mod z is nothing but R, because less than or equal to 1, equal to R. This is nothing but from here, mod z. If S is nothing but from here to here, Z0 to S, that is nothing but R1. So R by R1 is less than 1. Since it is less than 1, we can able to find out this value in the form of like this. So therefore, we can expand this one, because this should be less than 1. Whenever this value is less than 1, we can expand by taking to the numerator. That is 1 by s, 1 minus z by s whole power minus 1. And here you should understand mod z. Here if it is z is there. Total z value 1 minus z. That should be less than 1. So that is less than 1. Already we have taken. So this is 1 minus s. This is 1 plus z by s. Some z square by s square plus and so on. This is what we have. This is 1 by s. Now what is this now? 1 plus z by s plus z square by s square plus and so on. Again it is nothing but a series to sum to infinity. So sum to infinity, I may take this one in the form of like this. It may goes on. It may goes on to z power n minus 1 by s power n minus 1 plus z power n by s power n minus z power s power n plus z power n plus 1 by s power n plus 1. Let us expand in the form of like this. Total I have expanded. So from here to here, I'll take a partial sum. So I may take in the form of like this, summation k is equal to 1 to k is equal to 0 to n minus 1 z by s or z by z power k by s power k, this total term z power k by s power k plus z power s z power n by s power n. Okay, and this one I'll take common. So z power n s power n, here I am taking common. You will be getting as 1 plus z by s. So z power n s power n, you will get as z power n plus 1 next term if multiply, plus z square by s square plus and so on. You got in the form of like this. I have expanded this one in the form of like this, so that we can write in the form of like this. We can write that one in the form of like this equation. This one I'll take as it is, 1 by s summation k equal to 0 to n minus 1 z power k by s power k plus this one z power n by s power n into this whole thing again. Now what is that whole thing you will get now? Again this is something like a by 1 minus r. S infinity is equal to a by 1 minus r. So you will be getting as what? A by 1 minus r. A is nothing but 1. So I may write 1 by 1 minus z by s. Now this is what you got. This whole thing, like it's again a sum to infinity. So sum to infinity, a by 1 minus r, s infinity is equal to a by 1 minus r. A is nothing but 1. 1 minus r is nothing but t2 by t1, means second term by first term z by s. So that is z by s. The same thing I have written here. Okay. So therefore you just simplify this. This is 1 by s summation k equal to 0 to n minus 1 z power k by s power k z power n by s power n. This is s by s minus z. I think you understood. Just take an LCM and the s in the denominator goes to the numerator. Again you try to multiply inside. If you multiply inside, you will be getting in the form of like this. What is that now? Okay. Now, yeah. So I'll multiply 1 by s inside. So therefore summation k is equal to 0 to n minus 1 z power k by s power k plus 1. 1 by s into this s power k plus 1 you will get, plus 1 by s. If I multiply this s and this s will get cancelled, you will get z power n by s power n into s minus z. You got in the form of like this, z power n by s power n into s minus z you got. Okay, now this is what you got. This is 1 by s minus z value you got. So substituting this one, this I may take this as 3, that is nothing but 2. Okay, if I take 2 there, then this is become 3. If I take 1, this is nothing but 2. Okay, substituting in 2, we get. So what is that now? Cauchy's integral formula. F of z is equal to 1 by 2 pi I integral over c f of s by s minus z value. That s minus z value is this. So f of s into this value, that is summation k equal to 0 to n minus 1 z power k by s power k plus 1 plus z power n by s power n s minus z. This is the value ds. We have just substituted the value of 1 by 1 by s in Cauchy's integral formula, which we have taken the previous step. Okay, now we'll try to write in a proper order. Now I'll take this one, summation k equal to 0 to n minus 1 1 by 2 pi I integral over c. I may write this one in the form of like this, f of s by s power k plus 1 ds into z power k, or I may write this z power k outside, z power k outside, because with respect to this is ds, z power k I have taken outside. Okay, ds plus, just I have multiplied this one. Now I should multiply this. So what I get, 1 by 2 pi I, this z power n I may take outside, z power n integral over c f of s. I multiply f of s by s power n s minus z ds. Okay, now integral I have taken inside, integral, okay, and f of s I have taken here, and 1 by 2 pi and z power n I have taken outside, because this is integral with respect to ds. Okay, now this is what we have here. This is summation k equal to 0 to n minus 1 into, this is z power k by 2 pi I into, this is something like s minus 0 f of s by s minus 0 whole power k plus 1 ds by Cauchy's higher order derivative. So what the Cauchy's higher order says, f power k of 0 by k factorial, you will be getting as k, f power n of z naught by n factorial. The formula is that. So f power k of 0 by k factorial according to Cauchy's integral formula for the derivatives, according to, because it is n plus form, in the place of n there is a k. Okay, this is what we have, plus same thing I'll take z power n by 2 pi I integral c f of s by s power n s minus z ds. Now I should find out the value of this. If I am able to find the value of this, then I can get easily the required term. Okay, so let us take this as number 4. This as number 4. We'll consider this one. So let us consider that. Now I'm taking that. I'll take mod z power n 2 pi I integral over c f of s by s power n s minus z ds, and just taken mod. So that implies So that is equal to, so I wanted to apply mod inside, so it will be, now this one is mod f of s. Mod f of s is less than or equal to some m, and I should find out s of s minus z value, and I should write value of s. So this all thing will try to find out now. So for example, there exists n greater than or equal to 0 such that mod f of z is less than or equal to some m, or you can say f of s also you can write less than or equal to m on c, and s minus z. S minus is nothing but greater than or equal to mod s mod z, mod s mod z. Now this is nothing but r1 minus r1 minus r. So therefore 1 by mod s minus z is less than or equal to 1 by r1 minus r. The value of 1 by s minus z is this, less than or equal to 1 by r1 minus r. Okay, so therefore we'll try to apply here. So therefore z power n by 2 pi I integral c f of s by s power n s minus z ds is less than or equal to what here. So I may write this as 1 by 2 pi, because mod I is nothing but again 1 integral c mod f of s by mod s power n mod s minus z. Okay, then mod z power n mod ds. Just I have written as mod. I have taken mod inside. This is less than or equal to 1 by 2 pi I into integral c. This is nothing but m, because already we chosen that is nothing but m. F of s less than or equal to m by s minus z. S minus z is nothing but what? 1 by r1 minus r into mod z power n s power n. So mod z power n is nothing but r. This is r power n, and this is what? S power n, means r1 power n. Okay, then I may write mod ds. I may got as mod ds. So this less than or equal to, I'll take outside all, 1 by 2 pi into m by r1 minus r into r by r1 whole power n into integral c mod ds. So this is mod ds, integral c mod ds is again the length of the curve. So length of the curve is nothing but 2 pi r1. So therefore I may write this as 1 by 2 pi into m by r1 minus r by r1 whole power n into 2 pi r1. So 2 pi gets cancelled. So you will be getting in the form of like this. The conclusion you will get in the form of like this. That is less than or equal to. So 2 pi gets cancelled. You will get m r1 by r1 minus r into r by r1 whole power n. Okay, this tends to 0 as n tends to infinity. So this will become 0 as n tends to infinity. So therefore what is the value of that one? So therefore letting n tends to infinity to the equation number 4, we get, if you take n tends to infinity, we get. So therefore what you get, f of z is equal to summation k equal to, you will be writing as 0 to infinity, because n tends to infinity you are taking. So 0 to infinity f power k of 0 by k factor into z power k plus this, anyhow this total value we got as 0. So therefore f of z you got as summation k equal to 0 to infinity f power k of 0 by k factor into z power k. Now this is what you got. So still we can write it is in the form of like this. Still we can write. Therefore I may write as f of z is equal to summation n equal to 0 to infinity f power n of 0 by n factorial into z power n. This is a case 1 which we have proved. Case 1 we proved. We proved this one, the equation number 1. Now we'll try to prove the case 2 when the point z0 lies inside in the C at any point. Okay, z lies Z not be any point which lie inside. So that we'll try to find out now case number 2. Now what is case 2? So last case, this one for this Taylor's theorem. So case 2, what that? Let Z not be any point. Let us take Z not be any point, any point, and suppose f of z is analytic. Suppose f of z is analytic in the disk. In the disk, mod z minus z naught is less than r. Now which we have taken? This is the point z naught. This is r. This is nothing but s. This is r1. This is the point z. This is r. What we have chosen. So z naught be any point such that f of z is analytic in the disk mod z minus z naught less than r. This is a disk, means the radius is nothing but r, capital R, the entire. This is C, circle C. Okay. So therefore consider, now I am just considering a function g of z such that f of z plus z naught. I am just taking g of z as f of z plus z naught, which is also analytic. Which is analytic in the disk mod z minus z naught is less than r, means g of z is also analytic. So when it is analytic in the disk, according to theorem, it is nothing but by taking the value. Now I may take, in the place of z, I may take z plus z naught minus z naught, which is nothing but r, because z plus z naught. So that can be written as some z less than r, mod z less than r. So which is analytic in the mod z less than r. In the place of z, we have chosen that z plus z naught. So according to case 1, we may write this one in the form of like this. Case 1, we'll apply case 1. Case 1, if you apply to g of z. If you apply for the g of z, what is that now? What is that now? Since g of z is analytic, g of z is analytic on mod z less than r. So I am applying the case 1 to g of z. So what is that g of z? So instead of writing f of z, I am writing g of z is equal to summation n equal to 0 to infinity g power n of 0 by n factor into z power n. This is what case 1 we got. From case 1 we got. So therefore what with for all z with mod z less than r. So we can write in the form of like this also, since g of z is equal to f of z plus z naught. So I may write g power n of z is equal to f power n of z plus z naught. Or I may write g power n of 0 is equal to f power n of z naught. I may write in the form of. So here just putting z in the place of z 0, you will be getting as f power n of z naught. So because of those values, we may deduce this one in the form of like this. We can write that one in the form of like this. So I may write that g of z in the place of z, I will write f of z plus z naught is equal to summation n equal to 0 to infinity. Here I may write as f power n of 0 by f power n of 0, or instead of writing 0 I may write as z naught, because g power n of 0 is nothing but f power n of z naught. So f power n of z naught by n factor into z power n. This is what we have chosen, where mod z is less than r. Mod z less than r. Now we'll choose that z be such that we'll choose z be such that mod z minus z naught is less than r. So replacing in the place of z, we'll write that. Now you just replace z by z minus z naught. Z minus z naught in the above. We get, if you replace in the place of z minus z naught, what you get? So in the place of z, you can write z minus z naught, because z be such that z minus z naught less than r, because mod z is less than r, already this is proved. So we have chosen again the disk, which is nothing but z minus z naught. This is nothing but z minus 0. In the place of z naught, it is nothing but 0. So now we are choosing z in such a way that this. So in the place of z, we are substituting z minus z naught. So z minus z naught means you will be getting as what? Z minus z naught. F of z minus z naught plus z naught summation n equal to 0 to infinity f power n of z naught by n factor into z minus z naught whole power n. Wherever z is there, just writing z minus z naught. So what you got, the resultant? The resultant you will be getting in the form of this z get cancelled. So f of z is equal to summation n equal to 0 to infinity f power n of z naught by n factor into z minus z naught whole power n. Now this is what we got from the case 2. So therefore this is what the value of an, and this is nothing but the power series which we have. So this is entirely comes under the Taylor's series. This is how we can do the Taylor series theorem in the two cases, case 1 and the case 2, what we have done. I hope that you understood. Thank you.